As he introduced, I'm Susil Silva from United States Soybean Export Council, South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. Let me first thank President, Chairman, and entire Executive Committee of Poultry Federation of India for inviting US Soybean Export Council for this important gathering. In this presentation, I will talk about two important factors or clear differentiators of soybean meals, that is energy, available energy, and sustainability. In feed formulation, the purchasing department collect ingredients based on various factors, but in real feed formulation, nutrition is used. The nutrients. Nutrients are the important facts that you use in feed formulation. For accurate feed formulation, you need to know the exact nutrient matrix in each and every ingredient. Composition is very important, and also the variability is important as well. Which nutrients are we concerned with? Are we in the purchasing departments? Usually in purchasing specification, they look at chemical analysis, mainly proteins and various other factors like fiber, ash, and various other factors. But any of these factors, nutritionists will not use, but they will be clearly looking at nutrients, mainly energy and amino acids, available energy and available amino acids. If you look at the cost, if you do a cost analysis of formula, you will see which nutrients are the key cost drivers. If you look at that, mainly energy and then amino acids. Third may be phosphorus. Usually, when we do the cost analysis, what we do is we do an incremental cost. We increase the requirement by 1% and see the cost impact. If you look at the protein, a lot of people talk about crude proteins in soybeans, but if you look at the protein, in many feed formulation in modern day, especially in broilers, proteins are not limited. If you do a formulation, say for example, broiler starter with some synthetic amino acids available, you always end up getting a bit more than what you formulate. Say for example, if you formulated broiler starter for 22% protein, you end up getting 22.34%. So protein is not limited. To increase protein, you don't need any extra cost. But even if it is limited, the cost impact would be much lesser. But if you do the same for the energy, and you will need 3 times more cost to do that. So that is, the energy is the most critical component. If you analyze your formula, 60 to 70% of feed cost is for satisfying energy requirement, maybe 33-35% for amino acids, not for proteins. The energy as a key differentiator of soybeans. Why in soybeans? I'm going to look at, as I mentioned earlier, 70 to 80% of the cost of your poultry production is for feed. Out of that, 60 to 70% goes to satisfy the energy requirements. If you take that into account, the 50% of the entire cost of production of your poultry operation is to satisfy energy in the feed. That is, the huge. That's why energy in soybean meal is becoming very important in modern poultry productions. Apart from that, energy is very important in determining the voluntary feed intake. Considering that also, energy is very significant. Let's look at the energy sources in broiler diets. This is a regional formula using various other alternative ingredients as well. You look at, as anybody would expect, cereals will take the center stage more than, nearly 50% of the energy is provided by cereals, mostly corn in this particular formulation. But the second most contributor of energy is soybean meal. In this particular formulation, it says it is over 20% of the requirement. Let's take the general formula used in various other parts in the world, including in the region. Generally, soya and either corn-based or wheat-based diets. This particular example is soy corn-based diet. In that, 28% of the energy is coming from soybean meal. So that is very significant. That's why we talk about energy as a clear differentiator. From where this energy coming in soybean meals? Soybean meal is used as a protein supplement or protein meal, and most of the energy, more than 80 to 85% of the energy is coming from proteins, not just protein, digestible proteins. And if you take any soybean meal from any origin, there is a very little difference between digestible protein contents. So there is, the energy in protein is not a clear differentiator. What differentiates energy in soybean meal is sucrose and starch. So the nearly 10% of energy in soybean meal is coming from soluble sugars. The soybean grown in temperate climates has more sucrose and starch. That differentiate energy contents in different soybean meals. US soybean has fairly higher sucrose contents, and because of that, higher energy as well. This is very latest findings. In Europe, some studies done, comparative studies comparing major export origin, that is US, Argentina, and Brazil. You can see in US soybean meal, compared to other major origin, you have a fairly, the 50, 60 kilocalories of energy difference, especially the apparent metabolizable energy, nitrogen corrected, which is the one we use in feed formulations. And if you take any comparative studies published in peer-reviewed journals, you can see the same difference. And also, even if you look at some real-time data, the Evonik publishes real-time data for various samples, taking a lot of samples, but using NIRS analysis, so you can see the same trend. How the quality of soya beans impact the soybean meal quality, especially the energy contents. And if your soya beans are of poor quality, or if it is heat damage or damage, usually the carbohydrate fractions are fermented, and because of that, what this European study has found is if the soybean is damaged, it has more proteins, more the crude protein. That doesn't mean it's not real protein, but the nitrogen content, in laboratories we measure the nitrogen content and multiply that by 6.25 to get the protein value. So, and you can see even the sucrose contents are much lower in damaged beans. There is not much difference between quality soya beans from origins as well. This is a 5-year study, and you can see compared to Brazil soybeans, the damage is the 5 times lower in US soybeans. It's a heat damage as well as the total damage. And its consistency is very important as well. US soybean meal is fairly consistent in quality, and that has been proven by many studies. From 2018 to 2025, there is a prediction of the 20% demand for protein, and because of that, sustainable production of protein is very important. And nowadays, a lot of people, including some in the region, especially in Sri Lanka, a lot of people do their formulation for environmental sustainability as well. If you look at the greenhouse gas emissions in livestock, majority is coming from ruminant livestock, but 10% is still coming from poultry. Because of that, a lot of people are very concerned about the environmental sustainability as well. This is one calculation done in Netherlands, and you can look at if you look at the feeding program, the most of the environmental impact or greenhouse gas emission are coming from oil seed meals. That is mainly soya or any other meal. And look at that, feed is the biggest contributor, and out of that, the oil seed contributes a lot. If you have a lower carbon emission oil seed, that will be a real differentiator. And this is different soybean meals. You can see in US soybean meal compared to 2 major origins, that is Brazil and Argentina, it has nearly 90% lower carbon emissions. And if you translate that to the amount of chicken produced per kilogram of chicken, and you can reduce chicken or the carbon emissions of chicken by 45% just by changing from Brazilian meal to US soybean meal. And a lot of people say soybean meal or soybean is one of the major contributors for greenhouse gas emissions, but that is true only when you use Brazil and Argentina. But if you look at any other sources, especially United States, and it is in far or lesser than other oil seeds. It's lower greenhouse gas emissions, good for animals, great for you and the planet. And I serve 1.5 minutes for you. Thank you very much.